So today we are going to start with structure of protein, that is 3.6 of your book. Okay, now protein basically is a polymer. You know what is polymer? Polymer are those compounds which are formed by repetition of one single compound. The protein is a natural polymer and it is made up of amino acid. Okay, now protein consists of one or more polypeptides arranged as a complex macromolecule, and they have specific biological function. All proteins contain elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Okay, now see this. I will tell what actually protein is. Yep, is it visible? This thing?
Yeah.
Yep. Protein is a polymer of amino acid. Okay, amino means an H2 group. This is amino, and acid means carboxylic acid, that is COOH. So this amino acid, or you can say whenever these amino acids combine together in a large number, they are going to form protein. Okay, now see this one. This is RCH2COOH, and we have NH2 group this side. So this is a protein.
Can you say that again, please?
Okay, yeah, my voice is not audible. Great.
No, just can you repeat what you said?
Okay, I will repeat. Okay, now simply see this. R is an alkyl group, CH2, COOH, and here we have NH2 group. So this is an amino acid. This is amino acid.
Which one? The whole thing?
Yeah, this whole thing.
Okay.
It's visible now? The whole thing wrote in yellow color. It's amino acid. Why it is amino acid? This COO part is the carboxylic acid. Okay, and this NH2 part is the amino group. Here?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when these amino acids combine together, the different amino acids combine together, they are going to form protein. Okay? Clear?
Yeah.
Now, you know what are functional groups? Anything? No idea? Okay, leave it. Okay. Now, this COOH, this next position is known as alpha. Next position to COOH, this carbon is known as alpha carbon. Okay, and proteins are basically alpha amino acid polymers. Proteins are basically alpha amino acid polymers. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we will see how proteins are formed. Wait. Yes. Now see this. RCOOH NH2. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is again one more RNH2 COOH. Okay. Now in this case, what happens? Hydrogen from this one and OH from this compound, they combine together and move out, and there is a loss of water. And both of these combine together. RCNH2 is equal to RC double bond O. This is double bond O, NH, RCOOH. This whole thing is known as protein, and this is the polypeptide bond. This whole thing is known as a peptide bond. C double bond O and H. C double bond O and H is known as a peptide bond. Okay. And if these polypeptide bonds if there are more than 20 polypeptide bonds in a particular substance, then it is known as a protein. Clear?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now moving to your book. So protein consists of one or more polypeptide arrangement as a complex macromolecule, and they have specific biological function. Okay. Yeah. Now amino acid. All amino acids have a basic structure, have same basic structure, a different R group. This R group means it's a variable group. It can be anything. It can be any alkyl group, results in the different amino acids. Because of the difference of this R, we have different types of amino acids. 20 different amino acids are commonly found in our cell, and 5 of these are said to be non-essential as our body are able to make them from other amino acids. 9 of them are essential ones and are only obtained from what we eat. Essential amino acids, EAA. Most of the time, the person who is going to gym or the bodybuilders used to take these EAA. It is essential amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids which we need to require from outside food. There's further 6 amino acids. Further 6 are said to be conditionally essential as they are only needed by the infant and the growing children. And some are only needed by the infants, means the kids and the growing children. Okay, amino acid is clear?
Yeah.
Okay, now synthesis of peptides. Now amino acids join when amine and the carboxylic acid group connected to central atom react. Now what happens? As you see this also, in this what happens? COOH. In this also, from this C double bond OH, the COOH and this NH2, that is amine group. One amine group and other COOH, that is acid group, they are reacting together and other parts are joined. Clear?
Yeah.
In the same way, if they are, okay, let's see. Okay, so a hydroxyl group, the R group are not involved in this point. The hydroxyl group in the carboxylic acid group of one amino acid reacts with the hydrogen of the amine group for the other amino acid. That is what we have covered till now.
Yeah.
Okay, so OH group from the carboxylic acid and one hydrogen from the amine group are reacting together, and a peptide bond is formed between amino acid and water is produced. So this is known as a peptide bond. This bond between carbon and nitrogen is known as peptide bond. You can clearly see there. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes. You can see this OH group and H, they are moved out. This thing is moved out. You can see this is moved out, and we have this C double bond O, and this is known as a peptide bond. So a peptide bond is formed when amino acids and water is produced. And water, this is removal of H2O, OH, H2 and O is removed. So we can say water and a peptide bond is formed. Clear?
Yeah.
The resulting component contains 2 amino acids. This one is a one amino acid, this one is the other amino acid. So we call them as a dipeptide. Di means 2. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now see, when many amino acids are joined together by peptide bonds, a polypeptide is formed. Now suppose if 20 to 30 such type of amino acids join together, there will be more than 20, whatever the amino acids are joining, there will be some peptide bond. Whenever there are around 20 peptide bonds in a particular substance, then we call it as a protein. So when the amino acids are joined together, by a peptide bond, a polypeptide bond is formed. This reaction is catalyzed by enzyme peptidyl transferase present in ribosomes. So in our body, how it is formed? Ribosome contains an enzyme known as peptidyl transferase, which increases the formation of a polypeptide bond, which increases the you can say which increases the particular reaction, which results in the formation of a peptide bond. And these ribosomes are present, or therefore they are known as the site of protein synthesis. Here,
Yeah.
the different R group of amino acids making up a protein are able to interact with each other. Now, R group interactions forming different types of bonds. These bonds lead to a long chain of amino acids, that is polypeptide bonds, folding into a complex structure, protein. So different R groups of amino acids making up a protein are able to interact with each other. So there are different amino acids are there, different R groups are there in it. So therefore, it makes the amino acid different. Now these different amino acids interact means they react with each other and forms a polypeptide. And hence we get a new type of complex protein. It may be a long chain amino acids only, it may be a folding into a complex protein. Different things will happen as they react. The presence of different sequences of amino acid leads to a different structure. As there are different amino acids, so therefore whenever they combine, they are going to give you a different structure. And different shapes are produced. Different structure, different shapes are produced. As very specific shapes of proteins are vital for the many function of proteins have within living organism. Now what happens? Suppose, okay, see. Suppose this is R CH2 COOH. This is NH2 plus CH3 CH2 CH2 COH NH2. It combines with.
So are you typing or writing something down?
Yeah, wait. Okay, if you
I
see
can't
this thing, just a wait.
Oh, okay.
Okay, suppose there is a one CH2 CH3 C double bond OOH NH2 plus NH2 CH2 C double bond OOH. This is CH3 2H5. So they both are different. Now what will happen? This NH2, I'm writing it as a NHH. This is removed. Now in this case, this is a different one and this is a different compound. Both are different compounds. Both have number of carbon different shapes is there. Now as they combine together, there will be a formed you can say polypeptide bond is different. Is that clear?
Yeah.
That is what they have told, that see, the presence of different sequences of amino acids leads to different structures with different shapes being produced. The very specific shape of protein are vital for many functions of protein have within the living organism. If you look at the way of protein structure are built in these stages, it is easier to understand what is happening. Okay. Now separating amino acids using thin layer chromatography. This is there in your course or not?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's there.
Yeah.
Okay. So now amino acid is clear. What is protein? It's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now how you can separate amino acids using using thin layer chromatography. Now thin layer chromatography, that is TLC. It's a type of technique which is used to separate individual component of a mixture which are present in a very minute amount quantity. The thin layer chromatography is used for to separate those you can say components which are present in a very less quantity in a particular mixture. Okay. Now this quantity has used to separate and or identify mixtures of amino acids in solution. It is used to identify, not only to separate and to identify a mixture of amino acids in a solution. There are two phases in this thin layer chromatography. In every chromatography, there are two phases. The one is the stationary phase and the other one is the mobile phase. Now, simply, first of all, I will tell you what is chromatography. Chroma means color and graphy means writing.
Okay.
Okay, or drawing, you
Yeah.
can say that. So basically, this technique depends upon how different components are going to react or going to behave, or how they are going to show different colors if we put them in a solution, or if we treat all of them with different solution. Okay. Now suppose if you have a marker at home, black marker, if you put it over a piece of your cloth, white cloth, and you put some drop, what will happen? The drop will move forward and you will see that black color ink is fading, or there may be a different color in a black color ink. In this way, we are separating a pigment of black color ink. Fine? Is that clear? Okay. Now, in this case, we have a stationary phase and a mobile phase. Yes, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ji. So stationary phase is this phase. This phase is a stationary phase, the one which is not moving, and there is a one mobile phase which takes the amino acid or which takes the component with it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, ji. Now mobile phase picks up amino acids and moves through the stationary phase, and the amino acids are separated. That is what I told you. In stationary phases, a thin layer of silica gel on this stationary phases, a thin layer of silica gel or any other adhesive substance is applied to a rigid surface. For example, a sheet of glass or a metal. We apply a thin layer of silica gel. Now, amino acids are added to one of the gel. This end is then submerged in organic solvent, and we then submerge in organic solvent. The organic solvent then moves through silica gel as shown as this is known as a mobile phase. Now on this stationary phase, that is a metal layer or something, on this they apply a thin layer of silica gel. Okay, and dip the rigid surface, and it is applied on the rigid surface. For example, a sheet of glass or a metal. Then amino acid is added on one of the to one of the gel. We add amino acids, whatever we want to differentiate or whatever we want to separate, to the end of the gel. Okay. This end is then whatever the end it is. Suppose this is your stationary phase. At the end of this, you apply amino acids which are need to be separated. Clear? Got it? And the whole pink color is nothing but this is silica gel. And then this end is dipped in a mobile phase. The organic solvent then moves through the silica gel, and this is known as a mobile phase. Then we dipped it in a second, what? Then we dipped in a mobile phase. Okay, that is an organic solvent. The rate at which the different amino acids in the organic solvent move through the silica gel depends upon the interaction, that is hydrogen bonds they have with the silica in the stationary phase. If the hydrogen bond is more, it is fast, otherwise it is slow. And the solubility of mobile phase, this depends upon the hydrogen bonds they have, with the silica, depends upon the hydrogen bond they have with the silica in the stationary phase and their solubility in the mobile phase. If they are more solvent in mobile phase, then it will be easily extracted out. This results in the different amino acids moving different distances in the same time period, resulting in the separation of each other. Now, as each and every, you can say, particle have its own speed, they are not going to move with the same speed. And in this way, they form a pattern or each and everything is separated out. So this results in this result in different amino acids moving different distances at the same time, resulting of them in separating from each other. Clear up to this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Now a student carried out the following procedure to separate and identify the mixture of amino acid in solution. Now you can also do this one. Carry a glove. The student drew a pencil on a chromatography plate about 2 centimeters from the bottom edge, and the plate was totally hanged by the edges. Now what you have to do, suppose this is your sheet. At top end, just mark this point like this. Now in the liquid, you have to drop your sheet up to this level, not above to it or not below it. You have to drop it up to this level. Okay, you have to fill it up to this level, and this level should reach like this, something like this. Yes, is that clear now, Manya? Manya, is that clear? Are you there?
Yeah. Just 1 second.
What happened?
It's not loading.
Okay.
It's okay now. Yeah. Yeah.
So this results in the different amino acids moving different distances at a time period, resulting them to separate out from each other. So the students have to carry out the following procedure to separate out and identify the mixture of amino acid solution. Wearing gloves, the student drew a pencil line on the chromatograph plate. That is what I have told you. They have to draw a line 2 centimeters above and then mark water into it and put it into the water. The amino acid solution was spotted on the first pencil mark using a capillary tube. So the amino acid solution was, yes.
I have a question. Because we've already studied this, like I'm okay with this. Can you move on to the properties of protein?
Where you don't want to study this one?
I mean, we've already done in school, and it's not that like as important as properties of protein.
Okay, this is
or like no, like the levels of protein structure. Yeah, this one.
The levels of protein. Okay, you want to skip this thing?
Yeah, this is the one which I wanted to know, the levels of protein.
Okay, fine.
Structure.
So I will just finish it up in a second. So we have to put it in this whole thing in your mobile phase, and then the proteins move out one by one with different rates. Okay, that is what we have. This how we can separate with the other chromatography. Now levels of protein, or you can say different types of protein. There are 3 types of basically protein: primary structure, secondary structure, and tertiary structure. Now primary structure means this is a sequence in which amino acids are joined, and this is directly by the information carried within the DNA. It is a direct information which is carried in the DNA.
Okay.
Okay. The nucleic acid DNA replication and the genetic code are done in this. You will study this also in there. The particular amino acid is a sequence which will influence how polypeptide holds to give the protein final shape. Now, these polypeptides hold the protein and give their final shape, and this depends upon how they are going to connect together. This is in turn determines its function. The only bonds involved in the primary structure of a protein are peptide bonds. So in case of primary structure, there are only peptide bonds are available. Nothing more than that is available. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have secondary protein. Now in secondary protein, oxygen, hydrogen, and amino acid. Oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen atoms of basic repeating structures of amino acid. The variety groups are not involved at this stage interaction. The hydrogen bonds may form within the amino acid chain, pulling it to a coil shaped called an alpha helix. Now what happens in secondary structure? This straight chain is coiled together, Okay. This straight chain is now coiled one. There is a single helix structure is formed. Got it? Suppose as you have wire, you just move your wire. You just twist your wire. And have you ever seen this phones with cord phones? There are one cordless phones are there, the phone which are having cord, landline phone, which have cord.
Yeah.
So this is known as what? Single helix. Alpha helix is created. Here, like this. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is secondary structure. Now polypeptide chain can also lie parallel to one another, joined by hydrogen bonds like this. This is one polypeptide chain, this is other, third, fourth. So all are joined together by some hydrogen bonding. This is joined by this carbon, this is joined by this carbon. So everything is joined together in a form of a sheet. That's why it is known as a beta-plated sheet. The pattern formed by the individual amino acid cause the structure to appear plated, and hence the name beta-plated sheet is given. Okay. In case of beta-plated sheet, they are joined parallelly to one another by hydrogen bonds. Here. Now, secondary structure is the result of hydrogen bonds and forms a region along with long protein molecules depending upon amino sequences. A secondary structure is the result of hydrogen bonds and forms at regions along with protein molecule depending upon the amino sequences. Okay. Now we have tertiary structure. Tertiary means this third. So this is the folding of protein into a final shape. Now there is again one more folding in a protein structure. This is often includes section of a secondary structure. This coil of loading of sections of protein must, the coiling or folding of the sections of proteins into their secondary structure bring R group at different amino acids. So amino acids are different in terms of R group only. So we do what? A coiling or folding of sections of protein into their secondary structure. So they are again coiled into the secondary structure. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So they are closer together. So they are close together to interact, and further the folding of these sections will occur. Now it again more folds, so it will form a double helix structure. The following interaction occurs between the R group, a hydrophobic and the hydrophilic interaction. Weak interactions are there. Some are hydrophobic, some are hydrophilic. So weak interaction is there between the polar and the non-polar R region. Then we have hydrogen bonds. These are the weakest of the bonds formed. Ionic bonds, they are strong than the hydrogen bonds and form between a positively charged R molecule. So ionic bonds are formed. In this case, hydrogen bonds are formed. Remember that. Ionic bonds are supposed to be a little bit stronger than that of the oppositely charged R group. Then disulfide bonds, also known as disulfide bridge. There is a there is a covalent and the strongest of the bond, but only from between R group that contain sulfur atom. So there are disulfide bonds are also there, but it is of for the sulfur one, not for every. Is that clear? Is that clear, Gache? Do I need to repeat? Yes. Manya, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just one. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yes. What? Done?
Yeah. Okay.
So this beta plated structure is clear?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Now this is a tertiary structure. Again, folding is there. You can clearly see this first carbon is folded with the fourth carbon. So there is a folding in nature. This is also a beta chain, a tertiary protein. Alpha chain, beta chain, they are going to be entangled. Now this produces a variety of complex shaped proteins with specialized characteristic and function. Now, as we know that each and every alkyl group are going to behave rather differently. So we have to produce a complex shaped protein which is specialized, which is a special characteristic and function. Okay. Then the last is the quaternary structure. It results from the association of two or more individual proteins called subunits. Now, in this case, there is an association of two or more individual protein, and we call them as a subunits. The interaction between the subunits are same as a tertiary structure, except that they are between the different protein molecules rather than within the one molecule. Is that point clear? Now the interaction between the subunit is close, and it should be like that in the tertiary structure, except the tertiary structure, they are between different protein molecules rather than with one molecule. So there are different protein molecules are there in their structure in which they can have interactions. The subunits can have interactions. Clear?
Yeah.
The protein subunits can also be identified or different. Sorry, can also be identical or different. Enzyme often consists of two identical subunits, whereas insulin, a hormone, has a different subunit. Hemoglobin, a protein, requires more oxygen transport in the blood. The four subunits make up the two sets of the identical subunits. Now, what we have enzymes which are often consist of two identical subunits, whereas insulin and hormone consist of two different subunits. Hemoglobin is another example, a protein required for oxygen transport in the blood and has four subunits, make up two set of two identical units. Okay, so we can divide them, we can make a two set of two identical units. Is that clear? Got it? Any doubt?
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
Now, hydrophilic and hydrophobic interactions. Hydrophobic means repelling from water. Hydrophilic means loving, water loving. So protein are assembled in the aqueous environment of the cytoplasm. So the way in which a protein holds will also depend upon the whether the R group. Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
So protein are assembled in aqueous environment of cytoplasm. So inside a cell, there is a liquid part is there. That is what? Cytoplasm. And in this cytoplasm, there is a protein also. So now the way in which a protein holds with also depends upon whether R group are hydrophilic or hydrophobic. Now, who is holding protein? That also depends whether the particular thing is hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Clear? Now hydrophilic groups are on the outside of the protein, while hydrophobic groups are on the inside of the molecule, shielded from water in the cytoplasm. Got it? Clear?
Yeah.
Do I need to repeat?
No, it's okay. Yeah, understand.
Okay. So there are two types of interactions are there, hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Then breaking of polypeptide. As we have learned, peptides are created by amino acids and linking together in the condensation reaction give the peptide bond. Condensation reaction are those reactions in which you may get something. Okay. So what we are saying, so polypeptides are created by the amino acids. Now, it reversible can be there. Now there is an enzyme known as proteinase, the enzyme with that catalyzes the reverse reaction. A reverse reaction can take place, the turning peptide back into their constituent amino acid. So what they do, they convert whatever that amino acid is there, they convert back into the fruit. Sorry, they convert back whatever the proteins are there, they convert it back. Got it? The protease enzyme that catalyzes the reverse reaction, turning peptides back into their constituent amino acids. A water molecule is used to break the peptide bond in a hydrolysis reaction, performing the amine and carboxylic acid group. Is that clear?
Yeah.
As a polypeptide bond is formed, a water molecule is lost. Or this reaction is known as a hydrolysis reaction also. Clear? Yep. This identification of protein is also there or finished? Yes, we finished all these things. Okay, do one thing. Just try to do these questions. Take it as a homework.
Okay.
Got it? Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this thing 3.7, you want to continue or what?
Can we do that in the next?
Yes. Okay, fine. Do one thing. Just write down first 3 questions.
Or maybe you can go through it so I can easily answer the question later on.
What, Peter?
The 3.7.
Is 3.71 and
which was the down, the next.
Yes.
After. Yeah.
So you want to do these questions after this one?
Yeah, can you just go over quickly the types of proteins?
This one?
Yeah, no,
you want me to go up or down?
Up. Just like this, the start of this topic.
Yes.
Yeah, can you go over just an overview of these proteins?
We will do this in next lecture. You told me, na?
I thought we could do it now, so then, okay.
You don't want to write those answers? Just write those answers. Yeah, just write first 3 answers.
Okay.
Okay. And take a screenshot of this one and send it to me. Quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have 10 minutes. Just take a screenshot of this one and send it to me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, do it. And tomorrow at same time?